I ignored my family after they excluded me from Christmas. For context, I, 29 female, have not been on great terms with my family for a long time. My mom has spent most of my life doing everything she can to tear me down. And as of now, I haven't spoken to her in almost 3 years. I got an okay relationship with my brother, 32 male, and I love my dad, even though he enables my mom and never stands up for me because he doesn't like to rock the boat. Until a few months ago, I lived pretty close to my parents, but I recently moved across the country, and I don't have any friends or family anywhere near my new home. I love holidays and celebrations, but no one else in my family does. When I was younger, they used to make fun of me or get frustrated when I would try to be festive around Christmas, and eventually I stopped trying. For the past decade, my family hasn't done anything for any holiday. My brother, who lives in a different state, got divorced a couple years ago, and his ex took their house. So my parents bought a duplex in his town so that he could live on one side with my 4-year-old niece, and they could live part-time on the other. They still have their house in my hometown that they live in most of the year, but the last 2 years, my parents have gone up to stay in their side of the duplex for the whole month of December, and they've celebrated Christmas with my brother and niece. Last year, they didn't even tell me that they were going. I found out from my dad's Facebook. It hurt that they decided to celebrate Christmas all together and didn't even tell me, but I shook it off. This year, though, they did it again. My dad called me on Christmas Eve and told me how much fun they were having as a family, then asked me what I was doing for Christmas. I don't know anyone in my new city, and my family is all celebrating Christmas without me. He paused like he didn't consider that, then quickly got off the phone. He later sent me a selfie of them all together saying, "Merry Christmas from Brother's State." I didn't answer. Actually, I stopped answering at all. My dad and I usually talk 2 to 3 times a week to check in, but he's called me once and texted me twice, and I haven't answered since Christmas Eve. 7 days ago. I've also not been posting on my socials, and given that I'm not answering him or posting and I'm all alone in a city far away, he really doesn't know if I'm alive or not. He texted me yesterday saying, "Please tell me if you're okay," and I haven't responded. I know it's petty, but I'm really hurt that I wasn't even thought of for the family holiday. Even if I was invited, I probably wouldn't have gone just because I don't want to be around my mom. But being left out entirely really hurts. Having them rub my face in it with their selfie is even worse. I've been ignored by my family for my whole life, and I'm tired of trying. I don't know how to say this to my dad, and I don't want to talk to him until I know what to say. Am I the a-hole by maintaining my silence? There was no conclusive vote on Am I the a-hole, but most comments, blah, blah, blah. Update! I didn't think my post from last year was that interesting, but a surprising number of people have asked me for an update, so here it is. After a couple weeks of radio silence, I followed some good advice from my original post and texted my dad to tell him it hurt my feelings that they left me out, and he half apologized, and life went on. A lot of people pointed out that while my family was toxic, me ignoring my dad was also pretty toxic, and they were right. My family is super passive aggressive, and that is the only way I'd ever learn to handle conflict. And to answer some more comments, I have been in therapy for about 6 years, and after last Christmas, I started working with my therapist on how to do healthier confrontation. It's still not something I'm super comfy with, but I'm getting better. I've also made a good number of friends in my new city, and I'm doing pretty well, all things considered. With my family, at the end of the day, nothing has changed. They didn't really acknowledge my 30th birthday in spring, and most recently when I invited my dad to my grad school graduation next year, he told me that he couldn't commit to it right now because he's waiting to see if something that he'd rather do comes up. My brother said he'd come, but he's already gone from a yes to a maybe, so I don't have high hopes. The good news is that it finally hurts less. Because I have more or less given up on having a real relationship with them, I'm never going to be loved or cared about by them the way I want to be, and I've come to accept that. As of now, I have no plans for Christmas this year, but it's okay. My family sucks, but I'm really lucky in my friends, and I'm grateful for that. You're ignoring them is only toxic if you're doing it as a punishment. If you're doing it for self-preservation, it's wise. Talk with your therapist about this. Opie says, if I'm being honest, it was more or less 50-50 self-preservation and punishment. It's something I've worked on in therapy since last Christmas, though. Reiselfsen says he told me that he couldn't commit to it right now because he's waiting to see if something that he'd rather do comes up. Sweet baby pickles. To be fair, I am paraphrasing there, and that wasn't verbatim. His reasoning was more like, well, XYZ might happen, or ABC might happen around that time, or we're going to go on a vacation at some point too, so I have to factor that in. Still basically the same thing, but less blunt. Ness 1851-8 says, this is a sad update, so nothing has changed, and you're still sad about it. SMH. You need to cut these effers off already. OP says, unfortunately, for those of us with feelings, it's not that fast and easy to just get over something like this. There's a lot of grief to navigate when it comes to accepting the loss of a family, even if what I'm grieving is just an idea. The update is that nothing has changed with my family, but that I'm finally okay with it and am moving on. That's about as good as it gets. Not sure what else you want. And the Woolio says, if you have available time, this is what I said, may I recommend volunteering for a local charity related to Christmas? I said that. There are a lot of them that do toy shops, food for families, etc., where you may find a lot of joy if you love Christmas. And it could also be a great way to meet new people you have something in common with. Opie says, I'm not sure if I'll have time this year because I'm in the trenches of my grad program, but this is an excellent idea, and if I can't do it this year, I'll look into it in the future. And that's the end of the story.